definitely want to dive into Amityville since you've already brought it up. Because okay,
Right.
so this case, you know, like we're doing a mini series, obviously on family annihilators. This one's a little bit different because number one, the fame around Amityville. I mean, if people hear that word, they instantly think of the movie, both of them.
Everybody knows Amityville.
Right. And but also the family annihilator killed his parents and his siblings versus, you know, a husband killing off his kids and wife. But I feel pretty stupid where this case is concerned because let me tell you, I had no idea that the movie was based on an actual murder or murders that occurred in the house. I had no idea. I just thought it was a haunted house.
When did
And
you find out?
I found out just a few weeks ago when I was listening to Crime Junkie.
Oh, you didn't know it was real till a few weeks ago?
No, now I knew Amityville Horror, the movie, which was released in 1979, was based on true events, but I didn't know that there was actually a family annihilation that occurred in that house before the Lutzes moved in. I had no idea.
Wow.
So that was kind of interesting. And I guess like in the movie, I thought it was a fictional movie based on true events. And I was a teenager when I saw it, I think like maybe at 13 or so. So I never connected that there was a real murder. But I can tell you that I was traumatized by that movie.
Really?
That is a scary movie.
I was traumatized. And I probably saw a rerun because obviously I didn't see it when I was 6. But it, so let me show you. I was so traumatized by it that, okay, at the time I lived in Odessa, Texas, and dad was on the road. And so it was me and Shirley, and we lived in a trailer house, and we were eating dinner. And a song by Alabama, remember that band?
Yeah.
Came on.
Yeah.
And I got chills because the singer, that lead singer, Randy Owen, reminded me of the guy that played Mr. Lusk. So let me show you. So it like we're eating, you know, we're
Yeah.
eating. Look.
Yeah.
He does look like James Brolin for just the hair and beard.
He
So,
does.
and I think I had recently watched the movie, so I was already freaked out, you know. And then I hear "Love a Rainy Night," you know, and so I look at the TV, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, he looks like the Amityville Horror guy." And I think, and then like, what's up with these people and beards? So that's a guy that is the real Lusk,
Right.
Which he looks like James Brolin for
and
sure.
then here's the guy that killed him.
Oh my gosh.
And then there he is again. So I'm like, what the heck is up with the beards, people?
Era.
Yeah, it was the era.
Oh my gosh. So
Like that is creepy.
right. So I've never listened to another Alabama song since then.
Really?
I like Alabama.
I always thought the lead singer was very handsome. But that's my history.
So are you
Amityville
saying when you
Horror.
visit not to play Alabama? Because I was in my mind thinking I would now.
I think we should anyway.
Right.
You know, I've grown as a person.
I have not. So obviously I want to play it.
So I feel I'll be fine. You play Alabama all you want.
All right.
Okay.
You heard her.
So that is that is the example of how much that movie freaked me out.
That's strange. Because there were worse movies. Exorcist.
Oh, I never watched
that
that.
Was lame.
That sort of freaked me out.
Mm-mm. Well, and Dad said when they watched it, because I guess he went with Sissy to watch it in the movie theater, people literally lost their mind in the movie.
No, he went with me while I was pregnant, and your grandmother chewed him out.
Oh, was it you?
Yes.
That's probably why I am the way I am.
Right. I was pregnant, and your grandmother really
Thank you.
got on to him.
I appreciate you guys considering me in the womb.
Well, I didn't even know what movie. He just said, let's go to the movie. Okay.
And he
What
said
did
of
you
all
do?
the movies he's ever watched, that one scared him. And I think it's when it's based on true events, I think that like gets in your head. But I also think we all know some of this stuff is real. If you
Yeah.
don't think there's, another world out there, you're
Naive.
connected
You're
to
naive.
me. So, okay. So this is crazy. I just had to show you because to me, Randy Owen just looked, you know, like the guy that lived there. Now, did y'all know when y'all watched it that it was based on DeFeo murdering his family?
Yes, I did.
I don't remember. I watched it when I was really little. I don't know.
So
I
is
knew.
that you're doing, Mom? Just like you took me in your womb to see
Oh,
Exorcist?
her and dad, I watched the most vivid one I remember, total dark in the apartment, watching the guy with the
Freddy Krueger.
who
What were you, 3?
I think so. It was either 3 or 5.
I was a
Wow.
horrible parent.
Well, no, that was at my dad's, but both of y'all would, I mean, there was like no, horror movies, thrillers. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was a different time.
No, it wasn't.
I
Okay.
watched all the scary ones, but I don't remember knowing if that was real or not.
So
And the house on Amityville looks like it's smiling, 2 eyes and a.
yes, that's and I remember.
Yeah, they redid it. Is it? Did they tear it down or?
Mm-mm.
And we'll see pictures of the house today. They even had to change the address, and we'll get into all that. But I wanted to give some background on the village of Amityville because, as I started doing these, because obviously we're going to go through the family annihilator aspect of Ronald DeFeo Jr., and we'll get into some of the creepy stuff later in the Lutz. But I thought, I wonder, because when I started doing these family annihilator cases, I started seeing a pattern of how negatively it impacted the city.
Yeah.
It like completely changed the city where when you think of that murder, you think of that city, or when you think of that city, you think of that murder.
Well, don't you think that though, in most cases, even today?
Of just anything.
Yeah,
any sort of-
anything horrific.
Well, you can hear of people that are murdered. I mean, we've had murders here in Clovis, some that are still unsolved. But when it comes to stuff like horrific crime or serial killers or family annihilation, it's like it puts that on that town forever. I mean, like if you go to historic sites to this day, what are they known for? They're known for what happened there. And
You think of Bundy.
exactly.
No.
I always think of Bundy when I hear Seattle.
Right.
Oh, I don't. I
Utah.
think it's music, the grunge music. That's where a lot of the bands came out of.
Well,
And
Okay.
Rain.
Yes, rain and rainy night.
I don't
Telling
think
you,
of
there's something with Alabama. You know what I mean?
oh,
Okay, so
No.
Alabama and Amityville, rain and rainy night, killers.
Rainy Night is from Eddie
Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Oh, that's
They
funny.
look like too.
Eddie Rabbit looks like the killers too. So is it Alabama or should I play Eddie Rabbit?
I think we
Probably,
should.
if it's I love a rainy night, it needs to be Eddie Rabbit.
I got you.
I'm gonna look up Eddie Rabbit.
It
It
looks like him
too.
Yeah, it looks just like him.
Dark.
Beards were in back then.
That's him.
Yeah.
But still, Alabama dude looks like him too.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, what is up? Okay, let me share my screen. Oh, I had in my head this whole time that it was
It looks just
wow.
like him. Mm-hmm.
Alabama. That's funny.
Look at that one.
Look at that smile. Oh goodness. Wow. Yes, it was Eddie Rabbit. Mm-hmm.
Not Alabama.
Not Alabama. So make sure
So
you have
all
some
these
Eddie
years you
Rabbit,
were
okay?
thinking It was Alabama.
She wasn't listening to either, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. So Amityville is a small village in Suffolk County, New York. It's within this is crazy, the geographical boundaries of Babylon, New York.
Oh.
That's where Lance Wallnau worked before he went into ministry. I think that's funny. But they are incorporated They have their own local police force, fire department, and public works. It's called to this day the Friendly Bay Village, and it was primarily a farming community with strong ties, and I'm quoting, to the fishing and boating industries. Those slowly gave way to summer visitors, theater personalities, businessmen, artists, writers, and the rich and famous of Manhattan. And they would go to Amityville in the summers for the cool breezes and beaches. It's an affluent community with about 9,500 residents, mostly age 45 and older. So you can imagine how horrified I'm sure this community was, number one, and how irritating it probably still is to this day that's tied to this family annihilation.
They still have tourists too that go there.
Yep.
Hundreds. Hundreds.
Yep. And then
As
the
a
relief
homeowner,
of
someone in there, I wouldn't. like
the
that.
new Amityville horror with, is it Ryan Reynolds, I think?
Oh,
Yeah,
last
that's the
one?
new one.
I didn't even know they did a new one.
You mean new recent or new?
Recent. And so they redid the movie, and it's just increased the tourists and the interest again. So I did a Google search to learn a little bit more about them, and it's really pretty. Like if you pull it up, it's a really pretty town. However, when you bring up the city, most of the photos that come up are of 112 Ocean Avenue and the infamous house in the Amityville horror. Now, this tiny little 2.5-mile area village is on Long Island. I didn't know that either. Now, before the murders, Ronald Joseph, or Big Ronnie, as they called him, DeFeo Sr., and his wife, Louise, had high hopes for their new home. In fact, they hung a sign out in their front yard that says high hopes.
Oh,
And they had come a long way. Many wondered how Big Ronnie could even afford the house. Again, it's like, we've got
big house, questionable.
big house. Yep.
I
So
think
this,
was he tied to mafia somehow.
there were rumors of that. I'm not sure if that was the case. Now,
They made 17 movies, counting the new one. of him.
wow.
Yeah.
So this is actually, they say this is a house we would see, the front of the house. And this is what it looked like when they were murdered. They were Catholic, so you could see,
Oh,
okay. But the front of the house was actually on the side. And so this is the side view of it.
I love all the windows. Love it.
And then this is the floor plan, and you could see where the children were, which we'll get into. And then this was the back of the house where the pool is located. Okay.
nice
Pretty
house. Yeah,
super
nice.
cute.
And I'm trying to find this sign. Oh, here it is. Here's the sign that says High Hopes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. So Big Ronnie and Louise got married after a very brief courtship. Her parents did not like him either. They did not approve of them getting married. So they actually cut all ties with the newlyweds. And they did not even attend the funeral.
I think he was very loud.
I mean, I'm sorry, not the funeral, the marriage. Yeah, he was real loud, overbearing, and abusive.
Obnoxious, yeah.
Come to find out.
Yeah.
So they cut all ties with them until Ronald DeFeo Jr. was born. And they called him Butch. So we'll call him Butch so we don't get confused. So Big Ronnie's the dad, Butch is the son. Butch was born September 26, 1952. And they were reading him pretty well, Louise's parents, because he was abusive, especially toward Butch, being the oldest. A lot of people, including family members, witnessed it. 1 minute he'd be hugging Butch, and the next minute he'd throw him across the room.
And everyone just sat there, watched.
Mm-hmm. And so Luis's brother, Michael, witnessed that one time when he was visiting. He said they were all sitting in the basement, that's kind of where it all started, watching TV when Big Ronnie stood up for no reason. They're just watching TV, and he pushed 2-year-old Butch into the wall for some minor infraction. Butch hit his head and hurt his shoulder in the fracas. This type of behavior can be extremely damaging because you never know when you'll be attacked. especially as a
Right.
young child.
Right.
So your perspective of the world is developed by the age of 5. And so by the age of 5, to Butch, the world is unsafe. Yeah, and again, I'm not excusing him murdering his family, just setting up the background so that we can see how probably, again, a perfect storm's been created here. So he never knew when he was going to be attacked. He probably felt no love from his dad. I'm sure his dad also abused his mom, if I remember correctly, and his other siblings, but he got the brunt of it. Okay.
He didn't abuse the daughter as bad as he did everybody else.
Right. Well, he had 2 daughters, but the oldest daughter, Dawn, also hated his guts.
Mhm.
And so again, not to excuse it, but I'm sure this type of environment definitely affected Butch very deeply. To top it off, Butch was also, quote, extremely overweight as a child. So if Big Ronnie was the type of man I'm thinking he was, that would have bothered him.
Right.
And then even into his in teenage years, and then he started using amphetamines and he lost a lot of weight. And I wanted to see like how amphetamines can impact someone, even mentally. It's not good at all. So they are a central nervous system stimulant, or what used to be called uppers. Mom, you're old enough to remember what uppers and downers and how that was a big thing in your time.
It was, but I didn't indulge.
Okay, that's good. They increase energy, focus, confidence, and they can make someone feel euphoric. They used to use them to treat alcohol hangovers. I had no idea. And to help with weight loss. Get this. Today, they're used for hyperactivity in young people and narcolepsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they weren't all bad.
Well,
Just saying.
my experience, they were.
Just saying.
So I wanted to know about the side effects, especially the mood. How do they impact the mood? So amphetamines are highly addictive, and they can cause mood swings, aggression, paranoia, anxiety, visual, auditory, and tactile hallucinations, and insomnia. And then what's really scary is they actually destroy the pleasure centers in the brain, decreasing a person's ability to feel pleasure without using the drug.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's abused by his father. He's now using amphetamines. And to me, he's like a ticking time bomb. It's just a matter of time before he hurts someone, whether it's
Right.
his family, someone else, or himself. They had 4 other children after Butch: Don, Allison, Mark, and then later John. So let me pull up. And what's up with all these people named John?
Oh, it's a
popular
common name.
Yeah.
Man, remind me to never name a.
I don't understand how John, though, the nickname for John is Jack. I
Me
never
either.
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay, so there's Butch and Dawn, and then Allison in the middle, and then Mark is right here, and then little John.
And looking at the picture, you couldn't tell they're abused.
No, I wonder though if Allison was eating something blue.
But you know
Right.
what? No one is like close to him.
No.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, the legs are right here of Mark, and so maybe that's why. But yeah, I couldn't tell anything was weird right there. Okay, now between Mark and John, Louise actually left Big Ronnie.
Oh.
And no one knows for sure why. But to get her back, Big Ronnie actually had a song written for her that was actually a popular song back in the day. So let me go to the link, the YouTube.
Did she leave the kids there with him?
Do what?
Did she leave the kids with him?
I don't know.
Well, I don't
No
know.
idea. So him and this guy, it was written in 1963, and it was a song called "The Real Thing." And let's see, where's my link? Here it is. And it was co-written by the jazz great Joe Williams, and it was a song on his album called "One Is a Lonesome Number."
One is
That's Three Dog
lonesome
Night.
number.
Okay, here we go. Listen to the words.
If you are going with her and you can't win, and you're constantly in a spin, if the winter time feels like spring, it's not puppy love, it's the real thing. If you're satisfied just holding her hand.
So
And
basically, I mean, he has his song written, and she goes back, of course.
Right.
I mean, that to me, I don't know, maybe I'm different, but I don't care if you do a whole movie about me if you're a jerk, you know.
Right.
But I can also on the other side see the emotional tie. They've already started a family together, and here he has this famous jazz singer co-write a song for her. So anyway, it worked, and there's some speculation that Louise's father actually helped support their affluent lifestyle, and including the house.
Because of the
And then let me show you this. So he has this song done for her, and then he had these life-size family portraits done, and he commissioned them to be painting. It took over a year to complete, but these are gorgeous. They cost $50,000, and his father-in-law paid for them. That's the equivalent of $336,000 today.
Are you sure that's the painting?
It's the painting. Yeah, and they hung on the wall. And you can see them in crime scene photos. But this is Dawn and Allison. And then this is the wife.
I remember that painting.
She's beautiful. And then here's Mark and little John. I mean, they're very handsome kids. And then this is the one of Big Ronnie and Butch in the painting. No, this is a picture. I'm sorry.
Right.
So I'm not sure if I have one of them. I'm sure there is one of Big John or Big Ronnie and Butch, but I found it kind of interesting that these two are together and the daughters are together. But where, is Butch? Did they even have one of Butch? Let me see. Let me do a quick search.
The daughters look more real than the other ones.
Yeah, it's just incredible how realistic they look. But here is, okay, this is the hallway. Oh, I guess that was of them. That was the painting. So he had Butch and himself together.
Picture.
It looks like that may just be a picture.
No,
They-
it's the painting.
Got that same background as that other painting.
It's the painting. Yeah, that's amazing. So
And that's alcohol? He's
Yeah,
pouring?
what a weird painting to have. Looks like a picture was blown up.
no, it's the painting. That's amazing. So obviously, Mrs. DeFio came from a wealthy family.
Right.
And it appears that Butch's temper mirrored his father's as he aged. So now he's got learned behavior. He's got neurological, pathways of thinking. We do know that everyone was abused, including Louise. But Butch was very angry and violent, and he often got into physical altercations with his father and even his own friends. What I find ironic is that as Butch grew more violent, Big Ronnie and Louise got concerned and tried to get him into counseling.
He was doing what he saw was raised to do.
Right. Like he basically created a monster, and now he's trying to tame the monster. And it's like, well, you helped form this monster. You can't throw a 2-year-old across the room. and expect them to be well adjusted. And Butch didn't think he needed it, so he refused to go. And then they resorted to pacifying him with like expensive gifts and allowance, and then they gave him a job where he didn't really do any work.
It's interesting. The mother didn't see. I mean, she wanted him in counseling because she couldn't understand why he was like he was. I don't understand that.
And I do know, like back in that day, you know, like parenting was definitely not what it is today. You
Mhm.
know, is more old school. You definitely got spankings. You know, there could be some strictness and things like that, which I'm sure there is today, but we've definitely swung over to the other side where the kids now run the show, where
Right.
back then, you know, getting slapped or hit or I mean, that seemed normal. But for this is definitely abuse. I think being slapped or hit is probably abuse too. Spankings, I have no problem with, but this was definitely, you know, abusive. But maybe they just had the mentality of that's how I was raised, you know, like it just passed along. I don't know.
Some are worse than others, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, just like the List family, he killed him on November 9th. This killing actually takes place in November as well. I don't know what's up with November, but on November 13, 1974, several patrons were chatting over beers and mixed drinks at Henry's Bar when suddenly at 6:30 p.m., Butch burst through the door and yelled, "You got to help me. I think my mother and father are shot." Butch's best friend, Bobby Kelsky, was there, and he raced to Butch, who had fallen to his knees. 6 other men, along with Butch and Bobby, raced to the DeFeo residence, and they arrived within seconds because it wasn't very far away because, you know, 2.5-mile long city or village. Bobby opened the unlocked door without any fear that someone might still be in there. The house was quiet except for the family dog, Shaggy, who was tied up to the inside of the kitchen's back door because he wasn't housebroken yet. And then a textbook belonging to one of the younger kids was sitting unopened in the dining room on the table next to some wilting red roses. Bobby led the rest of the men up the stairs to the second floor, which Butch refused to go. He was very familiar with the home because of being a frequent guest. He rushed to the master bedroom, and all of them were immediately overwhelmed by the smell of death. He turned on the light, and he saw Ronald DeFeo, 43, and his wife Louise, 42, dead. Big Ronnie was mostly on the bed, and I'll show you crime scene photos in a second, face down in his blue boxer shorts with a bullet hole in the center of his back. Then Louise was buried beneath an orange blanket, also on her stomach. Bobby was
had one bullet hole.
Yeah. And then Bobby, who was about to pass out, the men guided him downstairs past the beautiful life-size family portraits. And then John Altieri, he was one of the 6 men that was there. He went back upstairs and he checked the northeast bedroom where he discovered the bodies of 2 boys, also face down. And that's where people started getting creeped out. Why is everybody face down in their beds? In one bed was John DeFeo, age 9, and in the other bed was Mark, age 12. All were shot, but where wasn't easily determined at the time. And then the horrible scene just did not fit with the clipper ships, cannons, and eagles on the boys' wallpaper, athletic shoes and toys strewn across the floor, and the crutches and wheelchair that was next to Mark's bed due to a recent football injury. It was surreal. And he had seen all he wanted, so he rejoined everybody downstairs, and they called 911. And then the first officer to arrive was named Kenneth Greguski. He entered the home. He confirmed 2 adults, 2 young males were all shot in their beds, lying face down. He called it in, and then Butch notified him that he also had 2 sisters. So the police officer goes back upstairs, and he found Dawn, age 18, and Allison, age 13, also face down. Okay.
So he made them go face down. So they
I'm not sure. That's what I think.
Wonder where he said he was.
Okay, I'm not finding the one with the Mr. Defile, so I'll pull that up. But this is one of the girls, and you can see that you can't tell. You know what I mean? So it almost like, to me, I would agree with you in that he made them lay down face down, shot them, and then covered them. Because if you look at, so this is Mark's mattress, and that's his blood stain. And let me pull up, because I thought I had them saved, but I guess not. So okay, here is the one.
Oh yeah.
So you can see the gunshot wound in the dad, but the mother's right here and she's covered.
I can't see it. Oh,
Well, okay. So here he is, and then she's covered over here. And notice the cover, it's almost like he shot his dad, and then before she could move or do anything, he shot her. And then the cover that would have been covering his dad, he just folded over his mom.
Right.
I wonder if the dad was standing up. Looks like he just fell back on the bed.
Right. And then there's one, so this one is of Mark, and you can see his wheelchair and see that he was shot, obviously. So they knew that. Let's see if there's anything else. No, I think that's it. This may have been John's bed right here. So that, started really creeping people out. Why are they all face down? And and let me show you. So the house layout, let me get that up for you. Okay, so here's the stairs, here's the second floor. So John's here, Mark's here with his wheelchair. Then Allison's right here, and Dawn, I don't know why she's not on the picture. And then right across the hallway were his parents. He shot his dad first, then his mom. And if I'm not mistaken, he walked over here and killed John and Mark. Mark wouldn't have been able to do anything because he couldn't walk.
Where was Dawn?
Well, she's supposed to be in this bed right here next to Allison. So I'm not sure why they don't have her in bed. Maybe she had her own room. I thought she was in the same room as Allison, but maybe she was in a totally different room. And that's why. Okay, so 6 detectives arrive by 6:45. So he lets everybody